What's going on, everyone? Welcome. This is the Warehouse Series, and welcome to me helping out a Discord member. And just because I'm putting out a video for a specific person does not mean it can't be a learning tool for you guys to watch as well. I promise you that newer selectors need to watch this video because it is going to help you out as well. So if you guys want to join Discord and I could possibly help you guys out in the future, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up. Let's get to today's video. I also want to say this video is coming out tomorrow. I am finishing it up. It's going to be close to 20 minutes, guys. I know I try not to put long videos out, but I promise you, once again, new selectors, I really think this is a really good video. Sometimes I just think that as a YouTube creator, when you do a video, you're just like, that's it. That's the one. This is the video. I really promise you guys, if you're a new selector, watch this video tomorrow. It's definitely going to help you build a better palette. All right, so we are going with Discord member A. That's the letter A. You've been posting your work over there, which I'm thankful for. And as I was looking through your work, I believe you're a new selector. And all what I can say is slow down. All right. So the number one thing, I've talked about this previously, the number one thing that newer selectors get in their head is the standard. And rightfully so, because that's what the warehouse does. They just shove it down your throat. You got to make that standard, got to make 100%. And then when your first order hits and you throw like a 40%, you start sweating it right off the beginning. So when I'm looking at this person's order, I am seeing a person that is worrying about standards and not worrying about how to stack their pallet. It is so important within your training weeks to find a system that works, because these orders that you're throwing are not hard. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to help you today. I love the back of your pallet right here. Great start. I even like the pears coming in. This orange juice, I would have kept coming in. You do not want big holes like this if you do not have small cases. So keep cases facing in towards the middle line if you cannot fill in this gap. All right. So keep the cases coming in, especially your back corner. I like the Sun-Kissed coming in, so I would have had the orange juice coming in. And honestly, if we had the orange juice coming in, or even a possible swap, okay? So this is just learning your cases, learning what matches up. I probably would have, even if I threw the orange juice first, I would have took the orange juice out, dropped the Sun-Kissed down, because the Sun-Kissed is going to be pretty close to your pears. And then you could have ran back these Taylor Farms, possibly ran them back 3 across or 2 across, 1 facing in, and you could have that nice solid wall I talk about to have in the back and the front of your pallet. So I would have dropped the Sun-Kissed down, and all these Taylor Farms would have been going this direction, filling in the back of this pallet very nicely. New selectors, you just don't think of stuff like this, but don't get in that concept of this. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow too. Everyone thinks they constantly got to rotate cases to tie in. That is not how it is done. Sun-Kissed in, all these Taylor Farms facing back. I would have filled in the back of this pallet nicely. I got a lot of pictures of yours to look at, so I'm going to try to get moving here. The side of this, once again, okay, so we would have had room to go back this way if we didn't have these big boxes in the middle. Please do not put big boxes in the middle of your pallet. Put the big boxes. See how we have all of our small boxes over here in the corner, and then we got all of our big boxes? I don't understand what the concept is with new selectors, but you're not the only one. All new selectors put all the big cases in the middle of the pallet, and they leave the small cases for the corners, when we want vice versa. All right, we want big, strong corners, like I said last week on Discord Friday. So big cases, you don't, and these aren't even big cases. You just have them facing the direction. And guys, watch my cross and tee. I'm going to pin in the description below the cross and tee video, part 2 and part 3. If you're a newer selector and you have not watched those yet, I highly, highly, highly recommend you do it. Silk is screaming for dear life. Don't ever put liquid on its side. And then we got a bakery bucket right on top of it. It's already smashing it. Keep our liquids upright. We do not want them on our sides. It is very possible those cartons in there, and then we got all the weight on top of it. This could be a milky mess by the time it gets to the store. So keep your stuff upright. Keep the big cases out of the middle. Put them on the corners, and then keep your little cases in the corner. Let's try swapping things around. I like your bucket where it's at, just not on top of the side of the silk. It would have been a lot better if it was on top of the silk. These big open boxes, I always think front corner. So if this is the front of your pallet up here, and we had, avocados or whatever these are, we had the big boxes up here, this open box would have been on the front of my pallet facing in. So that's what I want to say about that. I hate plastic pallets, but I see people using wood in your place. If you could use wood, use wood. These plastic pallets are smaller. They suck. They flex when you get a lot of weight on them. So let's get on to this one here. You did good here. I like these boxes up on the corner. So you kept your open boxes in the corner. See, we're not far off. Now that lean you have coming in, your pallet fell in, that is not focusing on filling in your middle of your pallet. A lot of people forget about the middle of their pallet because what they end up doing is they start stacking high around the perimeter and then they forget about the middle. Once again, it's knowing your product, something to this nature. If you have all white boxes coming, even these little Chabanis, they're good filler pieces for in the middle. If you have little holes to fill, remember, you got smaller cases coming up. Even all these, even all the, whatever the heck these are, I forget what they are, but these green lights or whatever, they could fill in the middle of your gap and your whole pallet would not be leaning in. So focus on taking the little cases and filling in the gaps in the middle of your pallet so we don't have that lean going in like that. I like the onions on your corner, but onions come really compacted and they always come with this hump in there because they're just shoved in there and they're very hard to move around, but I get them to move around. I always say, I always do CPR on the onions. I take my hands and I will push on whatever the crown is, wherever that hump is in the bag, I will push on that and try to get that as level as possible because the 3-4 seconds it takes to do that is going to make your pallet a lot more level and a lot better to use. You could also take these onions and stick them in the middle of your pallet right here. And then that way, if it starts to rock back and forth, it's not your corner and it's the middle. I'm talking fast. I'm talking a lot because I got a lot to discuss here. Screenshotted all your pictures. Okay, so this one right here, 2 things. One, when you're throwing bags, new selectors and you as well, keep the open part of the bag facing towards the middle of the pallet, okay? Because they constantly pop open, especially potato bags, the paper potato bags. If they pop open and you start losing contents, you're going to lose your whole corner and you're going to drop it. We got, is that eggs? Whatever this is on its side, don't put it on its side because it almost looks like eggs to me. If it's something freezer and it doesn't hurt, then so be it. Like I said, I like the vegetables here, but we got to keep our corners. Even though we're, if you're done with the order, then fine. You can throw the bananas on, but always keep your imaginary line from the corner all the way up to pallet. If you keep your corners, the better. Remember, we don't want to rock out. We want to rock in. We are rocking out because of these onions right here. Yeah, see, what are these Cisco's right here, these boxes right here? Is it something, once again, learning your warehouse? If we turn these onions and face them in, stack them on top of each other, are we able to get those Cisco's right in here? To fit right beside the onion. So when I put onions down, I'm making sure, or turn this box, I like to pin in my onions. I like to make sure that something's slamming those onions together where they're not going to get the shifting going on. It takes time to learn this stuff. We're out too far on the front of the pallet. I hate these plastic pallets. But yeah, let's get on to the next picture. Let's hope, every picture is just going to be something different here. This is actually not bad. You did a nice job here. You stayed within the perimeter of the pallet pretty much. We might be hanging off a little bit up front, but nothing major. We tied in and we stayed tied in. I like what you did here with the back of your pallet. You did a really nice job here. You did a nice job here. A lot simpler cases. It's not like the produce where you have open boxes and a bunch of different things. You have bags and boxes. This is freezer, all boxes, so it's a little easier. Is it freezer? I don't know. Refrigeration, you got eggs there, but still, it's box. It's easier to stack. Dairy's pretty easy to stack, but you did good on this. Take the concept of this and toss it over to produce as well, because your produce pallets look like crap. Not, but right here, once again, you did really good. I don't like this box here. That's too far. Because what happens is, and this is why I hate slip sheets too, is when people put slip sheets down, here's the end of the pallet, the slip sheet will come out to here. Well, people will take their next row and stack it to the end of the slip sheet instead of where the pallet is, where you're selecting with. So right here, you should have went, see how our line's already coming out? And then we come out and then we stay out. You don't want to do that. You want to follow the line of the path, and if you have a case that comes out, you want to come back in and you want to stay within the line of the pallet, because this will get crushed on the truck because it is way out. I mean, we're probably a good 8 to 10 inches out off the pallet. I love your buckets in the middle. Great job with the buckets. The back of your pallet looks great. Or I don't even know if we're looking at the front of your pallet or whatever, but this side looks great. This box here in the middle, it depends on what it is. You can get away with putting it on its side depending on what the product is. Even though you did this up at the top, get out of this habit. Get out of the habit of putting cases this direction in this part of the pallet. All your cases in the middle of the pallet should be facing towards the middle. Even though this is the top, I like new selectors, and even when I train, I like new selectors to get out of this bad habit. This is probably this is why I make the crossing T videos, guys, because this is one of the worst habits you can get into. When you put big cases like this in the middle of the part of the pallet, you create a weak corner. Now picture this down here, and that is our corner. But this big box, if it don't fit, don't force it. So this here, if I put this down and it was sticking out that much, I would have turned it facing in or back. I can, like, once again, I think this is the front of your pallet, but it's still not bad. We're keeping level. You're doing a nice job. Let me move on to the next one. Okay, so this is the back pallet that was behind you. And I just took a screenshot of it because I want you to show, not that I agree 110% with this, but it's a good looking pallet. And they stayed within the confines of the pallet. It is so important to imaginary lines the whole way up the pallet. You should not be sticking out and you should not be in. You should always be to the outside of that pallet. And that's, I saw that in the background. I wanted to point that out. Don't be afraid to look at other people's work that's around you. Here goes my green screen again. It always wants to dip down on me. But this one here, did we already look at this one? No, this is the other side. So this is actually pretty good. You did a nice job here. We got our eggs. This is a warehouse problem. That's a lot of weight on top of eggs, but it's not no problem of yours because you got to select it the way it comes. You actually did a nice job on this one. But once again, right here, see that box? See how it creates us to have a strong middle with like a weaker, smaller cases on the corner? Anytime I get a big flat box, I think corner facing in every time. So keep that in mind. If you start focusing on taking these cases out of that direction in the pallet, I think you're going to be a lot better as well. All right, this one here is a different order. So I mentioned on Discord, don't ever put your oranges on their sides. I've seen this 100 times. These things pop open and then you have 80 oranges flying all over the and then your pallet falls over because then there's nothing left in there. Keep your bananas upright. This is a result of you not keeping your lines. We need to focus on keeping our lines. So let's take a look at the next picture, which I believe is the last picture. Yeah, I wanted to try to go through this as fast as possible. So I like your base here. I like this in the middle. Well, this open box right here, if that's like a grapes, I like corners, front corner facing in. But see how our back of our pallet just keeps leaning in? So this apple has no business being in the middle, too big of a box. Big boxes think corners. I want you to start focusing on that. Big boxes think corners, smaller boxes think middle. So right here, this apple would have been all the way down here facing this direction. And that would have pinned in my middle section here and gave me my full line that I needed to be with. Don't be afraid to move a couple cases. So with that being said, you're not horrible on this, but that's the result of having to put this banana upright just because we're not keeping our line. And you even have another apple here, so you could have probably put 2 apples in the back. I mean, yeah, so small cases in the middle and and focus on keeping those bigger cases on the outside, keep cases upright. Like I said, this was even actually a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but I talk fast. I hope this helps. Any comments, leave in the comment section below. Please watch those crossing T videos if you have not seen them. And let's just focus on building the pallet and not worrying about your standards if you're within your probation weeks. If you want me to put out another video for you, let me know. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.